on to is the trachea.
Did
Tube.
you just flick something at me?
The posterior area is going to have a flat spot on it. And actually it's right here. That's known as the trachealis muscle. That's what I was hoping you'd come up with, but you didn't. All right, so
But you didn't.
there's our trachea.
You're not on
the
it,
camera.
yeah.
Okay, trachea.
Okay. Let's figure this.
Trachea will split. Okay, can you see where it splits? There's one there and one there.
That would be a primary.
So primary, primary. Then as we work down, this guy is going to be a secondary. See it? All right. Now, we know that, or we've talked a little bit about the membranes. I'm trying to pull up visceral pleura and not being particularly successful at doing so, but it's going to come right now. See it? That's visceral pleura because I'm on the organ itself. Then, if I flip this, we'll see our heart. This entire thing is the parietal pericardium, aka pericardial sac. Notice how much fat is on it. This is going to be the left atrium, right there. Here is your right atrium. Anterior interventricular sulcus is going to be right here. Here is your pulmonary trunk. Now, if I go on to the surface of the heart itself, what have I got?
Visceral pericardium.
Visceral pericardium. In Montgomery, sometimes she calls it epicardium. Don't get confused, it's the same thing. So I'd rather have you keep the terminology the same. Just make it simple. Let's not add extra stuff to it. Okay. Now, here is my diaphragm. Does it look like roast beef? Corned beef. Now look nice and shiny and smooth.
Parietal peritoneum.
That is the parietal pleurocyte. Rough and ridgy, that's going to be the parietal peritoneal side. So this side is towards the lungs, smooth. This side is going to be towards your gut, rough and ridgy. Bless you. The center part of the diaphragm is known as the central tendon. Two things will run through there, actually three things will run through there. The inferior vena cava, the aorta, and the esophagus. That's why it's significant. Central tendon of the diaphragm. Okay. So we all set with our diaphragm? Now let's look at the thing that's going to be superior to it. What we have here, and you can't really see it, that's bone. That's the hyoid bone. See the little lesser horn right here? Okay, that's the lesser horn. So that makes this, and it's not in good shape. Let me give you this one. This one's a little bit better. So my hyoid is here. This is the sternohyoid. Here is the thyroid cartilage. This is the ventromedian prominence. That's that thing that you call your Adam's apple. Okay, down here, this is another ring of cartilage. This is the only complete ring there is. This is the cricoid. Remember, it's immediately superior to my trachea. Does that make sense? Okay, so right here is my epiglottis. Looks like a little tongue, doesn't it? Now, we open it. Posterior to it, see the ridges in here? That's the esophagus. There's the rest of it. I'll show it to you in a different view in just a second. Once I open it, can you see the thing that looks like a loin pork chop right here? A little bit? Okay, that's your arytenoid. See the other one on the other side? Okay, down here will be true and false vocal folds. Don't get carried away. Faults are known as vestibular folds. They have nothing to do with sound production. Okay? Your true vocal cords would be right about here. Then here is my trachea. Now notice, if I put it together, here's the hole known as the glottis. This is the opening for the esophagus. Two distinctly different openings. That's why it's important to have an effective epiglottis, because when you swallow, your epiglottis, your larynx lifts up, the epiglottis flaps back, covers over the opening to your larynx. So the food will slide past and go into the esophagus.
What is it that can paralyze them? Or like when, let's say you're 3 times the legal limit of intoxicated and you go to sleep.
Oh,
Is that
well,
when it doesn't work?
it doesn't, it's not going to work because you've lost control over those
So
muscles.
that's why you can, I believe so.
You said the glottis is the opening of the esophagus?
The glottis is the opening, not necessarily for the esophagus, but for the larynx.
And then the esophagus is behind it.
Okay, yep. I'm trying to find you some thyroid, but none to be had. Let's keep moving. I need a kitty. Is that Smokey?
That's the one that, this is the
I know it's good, but she's oh, it's a chicken.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, that's the one I think that teach able to do this as well.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be doing videos at each. So I would like you to kind of get it now. Okay. Parotid gland here, masseter here. So notice it looks lobulated. Salivary glands are going to look very similar. So this is your parotid gland. Here is your masseter. Now, the duct is approximately here. And it doesn't want me to pick it up, so probably not going to go. Now, when we look for your submandibular here, then you're going to go sublingual. I'll come around and show that to you. Come on, kitty. All right. Here is our trachea. This is our esophagus directly to the left of it. Make sense? Your thyroid gland will be bilateral. And in this cat, it's pretty chewed up. Unfortunately, it's right here. That would be the parotid, your thyroid. This bad boy is thymus gland. Notice the thymus gland is directly over the big vessels of the heart. Now, this is parietal pleura. Parietal pleura. They removed the lobes of the lung on one side. And part of what they're looking for is you can see your esophagus coming down and your aorta. You can also see your vagus nerve and your phrenic nerve. This one's going to be phrenic because it's going to your diaphragm. Your vagus is coming down in this direction. So we're not going to get overly carried away with that. Obviously the heart in its pericardium. Here is the diaphragm. Falciform ligament is here. Now notice, these are all the lobes of the liver, including the ones that are inferior to the liver as well. There are papillary lobes, etc., so you've got a couple to look at. Now, tucked into the lobes of the liver is normally going to be your gallbladder. It looks normally like a deflated balloon. It's typically green. But I can't say in all cats it's going to be green. Now, stomach. Here it is. This is the stuff I was talking about. Now, when I said it was double layered, I really was not kidding. I just have to get it to separate a little bit more and it'll It'll keep going and going and going. So these are all parts of the greater omentum. That normally would be covering like that. Okay, so that would be attached to the greater curvature. This is your lesser curvature. Here is the lesser omentum. If you look superior to that, you can see where the gallbladder is going to drain, right there, and the two portions from the liver, the hepatic ducts will be, leading to your common bile duct, which is right there. Okay? Now, from our stomach, we know that we've got a pylorus valve here, because we go big, smaller, to a little tube. The little tube is the duodenum. Notice on the inner curve of that tube is your pancreas. It's going to look, as I said, like a 7 or an L. The tail of the pancreas is way over here. Where it starts is tucked neatly right beside the duodenum. Do you see the 7? Some of you may see it as an L, but as long as you've got duodenum, you've got pancreas. Next step, we're going to go jejunum. This is all jejunum. In the human, your small intestine is approximately 20 feet long. See how webby and lacy this is? This is mesentery proper. I'm on the ileum. How can I tell? There's my cecum. Does it look like a C? See the lymph nodes? Small, bigger. This is mesocolon. Can you see the blue? Mesocolon. This is the colon. So greater omentum, mesentery proper, lesser omentum, mesocolon. Here is the kidney. Doesn't look like much right now. Now I'm trying to find your adrenal gland. Oh, and by the way, this bad boy is your spleen. This kitty's spleen is pretty big. I'll make sure that you get an adrenal gland, because this guy's giving me an issue. There's his other kidney. I think it's, oh, it is definitely he. Had a baby, it's a boy. Here's his bladder. Okay, that's pretty much it.
You said that's his other kidney?
Yep.
Why does it seem yellow? Is that just so
When you put your kidneys in, or when your kidneys go in,